Hi everyone, my name is Morgan, and today I'm going to talk to you about why you should continue to use x-rays and smoke detectors. So, the history of x-rays. X-rays were discovered in 1895 by a man named William Conrad Roentgen. He was a professor at a university in Germany. The discovery of x-rays was, in fact, accidental. Roentgen discovered them while testing if cathode rays could pass through glass. His cathode tube was discovered in a heavy black paper. Was covered in heavy black paper, um, he was very surprised to see that an iridescent green light was shining on a nearby fluorescent screen. Since it was unknown at the time what rays were being produced, he deemed them as X. Roentgen found out that X rays would pass through human tissues, showing bones. And then, a short amount of time, word of this new discovery spread like wildfire, leading to doctors everywhere using to locate gunshot wounds, swallowed objects, bullets, broken bones, internal injuries, much more. These honors, in fact, landed him the Nobel Peace Prize in Physics in 1901. This is a picture of Roentgen and his wife Bertha's hand that he used an X-ray, one of the first ones to take. So the radiation that X-rays produce is a newfound discovery in medicine. Was used by lots of people without little thought of how it could be dangerous. We now know that X-rays have a strong penetration power and can be stopped with only a couple inches of aluminum. If you're exposed to X-ray radiation without proper protective gear, it can be fatal. Doctors use the term effective dose when comparing the dose of radiation to the patient that is receiving the radiation, and how much radiation will go through their entire body and what is safe and what is not. There's acute and chronic exposure. Acute is large doses and oftentimes proves to be fatal. Chronic is short spurts of time. The type of radiation that X-rays produce is an ionization radiation, which is radiation that radioactive elements produce when undergoing radioactive decay. Most exposure to radiation doesn't come straight from like radiation itself, like being in an X-ray. It's from our everyday background radiation, which is our everyday exposure to radiation. So some facts about X-rays. The balanced nuclear equation for an X-ray is when the atomic mass and the atomic number don't change from the reactants to the product side of the equation. Of the 300 naturally occurring isotopes, 36 are radioactive and all have atomic numbers larger than 82. There are natural isotopes and man-made isotopes. X-rays are commonly produce iridium-192 and cobalt-60. Iridium-192 houses 77 protons and 115 neutrons, where cobalt-60 produces 27 protons and 33 neutrons. So there's a few safety concerns for X-rays. Beam shutters, which prevents the primary beam from passing when closing. Fail-safe turns off X-ray generator and closes the beam shutter. Beam stop absorbs the primary beam. Interlock shuts the beam if any switch in a series is open. Warning light indicates an X-ray beam is on. And warning sign indicates that radiation-producing equipment is, in fact, present. Pros and cons for using X-rays. There's lots of pros. They're non-invasive, painless ways to diagnose disease, swallowed objects, broken bones. It helps medical teams in treatment plans or surgery plans, help guide medical staff as they implant catheter stents, other devices, helps get information and diagnosis quickly. Cons is that a patient could develop cancer in later life. At high doses of radiation, it can cause hair loss, skin irritation, cataracts, damage to surrounding tissues, so on and so forth. The effects that X-rays have on the community as a whole. The overall effect of X-rays in a community is a positive one. Many lives have been saved and bettered because of X-rays. Faster, more accurate diagnoses have caused better treatment plans, resulting in healing, helps for faster hospital stays, lowers healthcare costs, and makes room for more sick patients. Okay, so switching gears to smoke detectors. Okay, so the smoke detector was accidentally discovered by Swiss scientist Walter Jaeger. He was trying to invent a product that would detect dangerous gas. He had no idea that the gas would enter the system, changing the electrical current inside, therefore setting off the alarm out of frustration because it didn't alarm when the poisonous gas was released. He lit a cigarette and he noticed that the smoke tripped the alarm. Another Swiss scientist later kind of piggybacked off of him. His name was Ernest Meli. He worked to improve Jaeger's system and was aiming to use it in mines to keep workers safe. He used a cold cathode tube, which is what amplifies signal detection and sets the alarm off, helps trigger the particles, making the machine we all know and use today. There was a smoke detector, and that's Jaeger. So the types of radiation that are produced by smoke detectors are ionization radiation, more specifically alpha radiation. Alpha radiation does not penetrate the skin, making it harmless when it comes to penetration, although it could be harmful when it's ingested, talking about those poisonous gases. The balanced nuclear equation for smoke alarms is when the gas reactions are equal on the product and the reactant side of the equation. So some facts about smoke detectors: the main isotopes that are used in smoke detectors is americium-241. There are 95 protons and 146 neutrons in americium-241. The safety concerns for smoke detectors are placing smoke alarms outside of each sleeping area or room, inside each room where the door is usually shut, on every story of a house or a building. They should be mounted at least 4 inches away from the nearest wall and 4 to 12 inches away from the ceiling. It's also, you should change the batteries periodically and test machines. So the pros and cons of smoke detectors. Pros: keeps the family safe, wakes up heavy sleepers when a fire poisonous gas is present. It gives a peace of mind, makes them feel safe, which goes a long way. It detects a problem and alerts you immediately, which saves many lives. They're easy to install, easy to modify, and will work when the power goes out. Cons: they can be very sensitive. Sometimes they're responsive to smoldering fires. They can be expensive to maintain, requiring batteries. Sometimes they use radioactive materials. Sometimes they have out-of-range restrictions. Some fires may not be monitored. So the impact of smoke alarms on the community is a very positive one. They reduce the chance of fire by 50%. They have saved countless lives by waking people up from sleep when a fire or poisonous gas is present. Not only sleeping, but they let you know when you're caught off guard or not paying attention. In many cases, smoke detectors have saved countless lives, and they reduce the chance of dying in a fire by 50%. And then there's my works cited. So thank you guys so much, and I hope you learned something today about smoke alarms and x-rays.